am Grady.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to Highlights, a show where we recap a reality competition show, usually a drag one, like it's sports, even though it's not. This season, we are covering the 14th season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
The world needs more drag.
Exactly. But it's clear to me that Drag Race is now the ESPN of the LGBT community, and it ain't going nowhere. It's like the NFL. We're just stuck with it. Last week's episode was the first of what they claim to be 2 premieres. I don't know that premieres work that way. I'm pretty sure you get one. But, Drag Race has been workshopping this thing where they split up the queens to spend a little more time on each one before they start eliminating them. So last week's episode was big opening number 1, where we meet the first 7 queens. So, meeting the first 7 queens, let's break this down. First up is Alyssa Hunter. Alyssa Hunter is from Puerto Rico. Her drag name comes from a couple of different Alyssas, including the Miss USA winner, Alyssa Campanella, and Alyssa Edwards from, of course, RuPaul's Drag Race. And her last name comes from Miss Continental winner, Danielle Hunter, who I believe is her drag mom, right? Or something like that, or in her family.
I believe she said that, yeah.
Yeah, Alyssa is a pageant queen and competed at the age of 16 in her first pageant by lying about her age. Next up is Bosco. Bosco is from Seattle. Bosco's drag name comes from the name of their dead family dog. Then we got Carrie Colby. Carrie Colby is from Dallas, Texas, but now resides in Los Angeles, California. Carrie's drag name comes from her desire to be a Kardashian and wanting to have a K name like the sisters in that family, which immediately told me everything I could ever want to know about her.
Pretty much. It makes me sad because she's my homeschool queen. So, like,
I know.
For me, I'm like, oh gosh. Like,
I know.
One part of me wants her to do really well because homeschool, like, I got you, girl.
Next up, we have Orion Story. Orion Story is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Orion's drag name comes from her mother's maiden name, which is also Story, and decided a name like Orion would be a good name to go with it. Then we have Cornbread the Snack Jeté. That is her full name, and they use it in the show, which is, from a branding perspective, she might want to shorten that a little bit. Is from Columbia, South Carolina, but currently resides in Los Angeles, California. And Cornbread's drag name comes from watching a prison show where an inmate was named Cornbread after killing her cheating husband while they were eating cornbread at their dinner table. Next up is Willow Pill. Willow's drag name comes from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer character Willow Rosenberg, and also having to take several pill medications for her chronic illness. Willow Pill is the drag sister of season 11 winner Evie Oddly. And last, but probably not least, is June Jambalaya, who is from Jacksonville, Florida, and also currently resides in Los Angeles, California. June's drag name comes from her dance teacher naming her based on her birth month and the last thing she ate before they had that conversation. Okay, let's dive into some of this stuff. So all the queens, of course, do their entrances, their catchphrases, and then the, oh my God, we're on Drag Race, like all that stuff.
Some stood out as concerning.
Yes.
As, this is the look you chose for your first impression.
For sure.
What the heck?
Yeah. I was very nervous about Willow's.
Yeah.
Because Willow was so strong. Oh, when I saw them meet the queens, I was Team Willow. I was like, Willow's kind of fun. She's cute. And then she walked in this like 2004, like, I don't know what outfit.
Thrift store, Paris Hilton looking. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was very. Yeah. Even just standing next to the other queens, like there at the table, she looked out of place.
Yeah.
Like she wandered in from another, like she wandered in from the Mean Girls set, the movie prior to us watching. Like,
I know. I know. It's really weird.
She's the makeup girl's assistant that came to powder everybody's nose. That's what she looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a very interesting choice. And it was very interesting because I was like, would this have stood out as much if this was like season 1 or 2? Probably not. Orion Story's entrance really confused me. I thought it was very long. She walked in with the weird scream, whistle. No, I don't know what was coming out of her mouth. And then she pulls out a phone that's
The
shaped.
burger phone.
Yeah. And calls RuPaul, says something dumb, and then has a different catchphrase unrelated to everything previous in her entrance. It was a weird mishmash of things.
No, for sure. And honestly, I thought June Jambalaya's entrance look was a little basic as well, with her long sleeve, like nude bodysuit, and then, or, you know, whatever jumpsuit she had on over that.
Yeah.
It was kind of whatever.
And we actually go to a more classic mini challenge for the girls, which is the photo shoot. They haven't done this on mainstream Drag Race, I think, for a hot minute as the first mini challenge. So it was kind of cool. There is a little bit of a twist, though, as there always is with the Drag Race photo shoots. And they get strapped to the Lip Sync for the Crown tournament wheel and have to pose for photos while they spin them around.
It's almost a really realistic twist, though. Like, in every photo shoot, there's going to be something really strange, uncomfortable, whatever it might be. Just take a deep breath and lean into it.
I personally think Bosco was robbed.
Bosco was robbed. I thought Bosco was going to win because Bosco was a total pro.
Photo. And
yeah.
Carrie's looked real. I'm sorry, it looked really dumb. It was not a good photo.
Yeah. And, you know, this was there's some shady editing because Carrie, I mean, not that the editing, I think, was inaccurate, but Carrie seemed to really struggle.
Yeah.
But it was almost like they made her seem like she struggled the entire time. But then she had like that photo at the end they chose. And I was like, oh, it's not a bad photo. But yes, Carrie Colby does, in fact, win the mini challenge and wins $2,500 courtesy of JJ Malibu. So, of course, they get told that for the maxi challenge, they'll be performing in a talent show where they have to show off their signature talents, which is interesting to see what those are. And then, of course, Rue does his usual walkthrough right before. Did anything stand out to you during the walkthrough? It didn't to me. So,
no.
Okay. That's what I mean. I feel like they crammed a lot into this episode. It just wasn't that entertaining, which is weird. It's really weird. For Drag Race.
Even with like Lizzo's like burst into the thing, like she was hiding from the producers, but she's on camera. Like, I don't know.
Annoying. Yeah.
It's just like the attempt to be campy, but we understand.
Yeah,
we know what's going on. Like,
I know.
Done the damn show.
I know. But yes, as they get ready and do all of these things, Lizzo attempts to, hang out with the queens. She says she's running from the producers. She's hiding. She doesn't want to be found, but she really wanted to sneak back there and talk to them as if she wasn't being paid for that time and told exactly to do it. It was really weird. But I will say Lizzo looks like she's having a blast, which is always nice. I like it when the judges seem to like being there, when they seem like they've seen the show and they care and all of that stuff. So good for Lizzo. So then we start to get into the thick of it, and we spend a lot of time on the main stage today.
Didn't we though?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was like the bulk of the episode. It was crazy. But Rue steps out in a nice little black number. I actually liked how Rue looked. And then Rue decides to surprise the children with a performance of Catwalk, which is one of Rue's new singles from Rue's new album, Mama Rue, which dropped in full, I believe the same day the episode dropped. Marketing.
Available on iTunes.
RuPaul dances and performs the song.
Whoa. we that was I don't know if we can call that dancing. That was like Jessica Simpson moves in front of people that were dancing.
That's true.
It's kind of like watching that clip of when Cher does burlesque and she just kind of like gyrates a little bit, like she's into it, but like, for age reasons and probably insurance reasons, she really can't go too far because,
Yeah.
Replacing a hip is expensive.
She was working it though. She was like walking over here. She was like, "You look good dancing." She walked over here. She was like, "You look good dancing."
She was.
Yeah. And she was
My
like,
hand, you.
and if I was 20 years younger, this is what I'd be doing.
Right step, shake left hand.
Yeah. But she's like, "But I'm not. So strut to the back of the stage. Bam." I don't know. But I love it when Rue feels the need to kind of prove people wrong that hate on her on social media.
Yeah, I think it's important that she does things like that because she is kind of getting this reputation as a backseat driver a little bit, where she kind of just comments without any. Not that she's not reputable; she's definitely done the work to get to where she's at. But she's also, I think, critiqued for not being updated and not being active.
Yeah. And what I will say about Rue is that, Rue got a lot of flack about like her makeup skills and things like that. Could you do what you're making the queens do and meet the expectation you're asking them to live up to? I don't know that she could, but I will say Rue does know how to perform.
Right.
And does so very professionally, which is great. And I like to see that, And when she does other shows, when they're willing to give her the money she wants to be in drag for, she can do it. AJ and the Queen was that Netflix show she did, and she does a lot of stuff there. And I watched some behind the scenes of that, and she is running upstairs in those heels, and she's doing all kinds of stuff. So I was like, then why are you demanding your sweats, like just to sit at a table? Like, I don't know.
For your own show.
Yeah. And so that's why I said when we were watching it, I was like, oh, she took her AJ and the Queen meds today, I guess.
I was dead.
She made sure her joints were good and bendy, and she was in it. I loved it.
She was doing her Gumby moment.
So let's get into this talent show. So the talent portion, we started with June Jambalaya, who decided to perform a traditional African dance.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of good. I thought it was interesting. It was, albeit risky, to do for a talent show on RuPaul's Drag Race. I think in terms of talent, I think RuPaul is looking for something kind of specific, and it very seldom is something that deep.
True. I really like the dance. I'm very distracted as an audience member, and I'm really sorry. I apologize now, but I was very distracted by the headband coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like as a comm major, I kind of wanted to know why she didn't practice first with the headband on.
That's my thing.
Like, I don't know. And I know that sounds super harsh, but I'm this
I don't think so.
picky about my own stuff. So I like nitpick everybody else too, I guess.
Then we had Bosco, who decided to perform a burlesque number, and it was kind of a comedic burlesque, which was kind of cool. This was whatever to me, but I appreciated it. It was good.
Can I just say that after watching Sigourney Beaver burlesque all season long on Dragula, Bosco's burlesque skills were kind of just like, meh, for me.
Yeah. I liked the outfit that went with it more than anything.
I did.
Yeah, you know where it got really, really cool was when she started picking the petals off.
Right. That's
like
what I liked about
that
it.
was like, so I think burlesque is kind of really hard to do and make it entertaining and not just super slutty and boring.
Yeah.
And when you have something like an interactive outfit that kind of brings that magic to your performance, like the petals did for me, that was the most important part of that performance was the petals. And I wish she had done more like that to make that a unique performance. Because I feel like burlesque can get really dull really, really fast.
Then we had Alyssa Hunter, who decided to perform a lip sync.
I'm sorry, they need to change that to playing guitar.
Yeah, I know, which is crazy because I'm like, that
So
means she
funny.
told production, like, hey, I'm going to do a lip sync. But she told everybody else, like, yeah, I play instruments. I'm
playing guitar, like, make believe.
Yeah,
And if
Guitar
you just
Hero.
rock and roll,
Yeah.
And it's gonna be really edgy and really fun and really high energy. You rock and roll, and I'm gonna be playing the guitar and everything.
Yeah. She may as well brought out a Guitar Hero guitar. It was like ridiculous.
No. You guys misunderstood. Like, I am the guitar.
Should have been. It should have been what she did. Oh my God. Interesting.
She put on a really good show though. I was into it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was just
I agree with what the judges said though. Like nothing about that performance made me understand who she was though.
right.
I totally have to agree, but here's the thing. If you have to lip sync for your life, why would you start off the talent show lip syncing? It basically tells me that you have no talent.
Then we had Carrie Colby, who also decided to do a lip sync, but also decided to jump rope.
Yeah, she should have come out jump roping and like did the entire lip sync while jump roping. That would have been a lot more effective, I think. But then it would have involved changing that routine a little bit to be longer.
No, for sure. I liked it. But at the same time, it's so awkward to say this, but until you jump rope a lot, like you don't understand how much energy that takes.
It is. It is a lot.
Like it's a lot. And again, shout out to my homeschool kid and like your alone activity with your jump rope.
Yes.
Therese is in her corner.
You don't know what it's like to be
your
a
homegirl thing.
I was raised out in the middle of nowhere.
Until you jump rope by yourself at home for hours on end, you don't understand.
No, it was solitaire once I turned a teenager, but you don't understand. I rode my bicycle and I learned how to ride my bike with no hands. And I was just this super loner homeschool kid out in the middle of the country. And I'm not sorry about it, but I freaking love it.
The way you feel is valid. We're here for you.
Let the flag fly. That's all right.
Oh, the homeschool flag fly. Oh my God.
Yeah. Carrie, my thing about Carrie was she was like, yeah, this is my talent. I haven't done it in like 10 years though. And I was like, why choose that? And I feel like that was partly why it took her so long to pick it up, because she knew she probably wasn't going to have the energy to do it the entire time. And it just takes me out of it. So I'm like, pick something else, like knit for all I care. I just need to see that you can do it well for the time you're given. So anyways, and then she did really well, but then she did mess up with the rope once. And then I was like, girl, why aren't you practicing if that's what you're going to come and bring and do? Like, anyways. So Orion Story did a comedy skit.
Cute that they called it a comedy skit. And I want to say that that's what she put down. And then, like she said, she didn't do her homework and prepare anything. And what we got was a freaking train wreck.
Was garbage.
It could have been funny, and it was not.
It wasn't. It had potential. I was like, oh, okay, this could be.
I almost wish she had stopped it when she had just said, well, I wish I had more time to have more jokes for you guys, and then just walked off stage. And then she made it even more awkward by that whole like gyrating, stroking, whatever it was, that it was so what?
So then we had Cornbread, who did an original song, which I actually thought was genius.
It was like made for this occasion.
Yeah, completely. Like she wrote it about being on Drag Race, which means, I don't know, like, did you make the song after you got the call and it was part of your prep, which is pretty cool. But it was pretty cool. And she had the room art props and it was really good, which is right up RuPaul's alley. So.
Yeah, it was really smart because Ru loves a lot of things that have to do with Ru.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was pretty like easy to tell that was going to be Ru's favorite.
And then we have Willow Pale, who performed a segment called Self-Care in Quarantine, which I was really nervous when she began. I was like, oh, she's playing Enya. I don't know where this is going to go. But I was into it because I was like, I love Enya. I listen to Enya in my personal life when I'm zenning out. But I was like, oh, what is she going to do with this song? And it didn't look like she was doing much. So, but then, boy, was the payout really great.
Yeah, this was also really, really smart. This was the kind of smart, like how, like Sasha Velour smart, where it was like, you definitely had to have that, like, a higher realm of thinking to be like, oh, okay, I get this. This is not your typical, like, slapstick funny. It's, like, dark funny. It's still really, really funny.
And then after sitting through all of that, we had to sit through the runway. which was
Oh, they're really
surprising. It was surprising to me because on All Stars they do the talent show and they don't do a runway because of how much time it takes.
Right.
But they took the time this time, and I didn't necessarily think they needed to. I guess because half the people were naked from their skits, but it was really weird. But the runway category was show-stopping original drag or something. No. The runway category was signature show-stopping drag. That's what I said the first time. Anyways.
I mean, nothing came out where I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. But there were a few that came out where I was like, that's maybe not show-stopping.
Yeah. Cornbread's was not show-stopping for me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really weird and a very basic choice.
Yeah. I thought Willow's was really interesting, like the colors she chose.
Mm-hmm.
I
liked
don't
Willow's.
think it was necessarily like over the top show stopping, but I thought it was kind of interesting. I almost got like a 90s vibe from it.
Yeah.
I kind of thought hers was kind of cool.
I think Willow likes a particular era of time. I think she really likes late 90s, early 2000s kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's pretty specific.
I agree with the judges. I was really sad by what Orion's story brought to the runway. I would definitely. I got Bosco's silhouette. It was kind of strange that it was the same as the entrance look, but yeah, other than that, I loved Cornbread's look. Like, she was the one that stood out to me for sure the most. Her and Bosco.
And pause. Hold on a second. Because you liked Cornbread's look. Defend it.
And go.
It wasn't necessarily. All right, so it was a bodysuit for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No disputes about that. But basically, June Jambalaya was wearing a jumpsuit with arm capes.
Okay.
There's only so many
Yeah.
silhouettes you can do. There's only so many things you can do, right?
Yeah.
I love me a sparkle on stage. I absolutely love a bald queen on occasion. It doesn't have to be every single time, but I like a little bit out of the box. I did think that she needed something on her head to balance out the silhouette on the top, but I understood where she was going and where she was coming from. It wasn't necessarily like jaw dropping or anything like that, but kind of the whole, everyone's runway wasn't necessarily jaw dropping or stand out.
Interesting. See, this is why I do the show with both y'all. Because
Would you have liked Cornbread's look if Carrie had walked out in it?
Yeah, probably, because she probably looks really good. Like, her facial beauty is incredible. So if she were to highlight just her facial beauty, I'm sure she's just stunning.
I feel like if somebody else had walked out like Cornbread, they would have been ripped apart. But they loved what Cornbread did and how Cornbread was acting so much. They were like, yeah, we'll critique the outfit. We'll talk about how it mishmashes you and whatever, but we love you, Cornbread.
like if Carrie walked out in it.
Yeah.
They would have to shred.
Yeah. Which is
But
I don't know.
it's almost like they don't have the same expectation from Cornbread to be like that level of fashion or glamorous. So they don't critique her at the same level.
So we get into the tops and bottoms as everybody is critiqued this episode. Willow and Cornbread are the obvious tops. Very high critiques. And then the bottoms seem to be June, Orion, and Alyssa.
I was kind of shocked to see Alyssa in the bottom, but if I sat and thought about it, I don't know who else I would put there instead of her.
I don't know. I guess Alyssa's just wasn't enough. And I was kind of confused by it. It was just like something she could do in her living room. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it wasn't, in terms of talent, I was like, okay, you can lip sync, which is already your profession. and something you're expected to do on this show. And then your other talent then that you coupled with it was just pretending to play this guitar that you're holding. So they announced that the winner of the challenge is in fact Cornbread. And I have to say, based on the Runway presentation that came after the talent, I probably would have given it to Willow.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I'm just glad I'm not alone there.
I feel like maybe they just did the runway portion so they can kind of see, like, gauge where everyone is at with their personal fashion, and maybe didn't take it much into consideration.
Yeah.
If that was the case, she should not have won.
Or I don't know if they were worried about like not filling up enough time with the talent show because there's only 7. Because All Stars does it, but they do it with everybody.
That's true.
So I don't know. But I did feel like if we're considering the runway, then because initially I was like, oh, Cornbread probably should win. That was a really great performance. It was really good. She and Willow were like right up there for me. And then the runway happened and I was like, Willow. And I was kind of surprised, but also not surprised that then they gave it to Cornbread. That means, of course, that our bottoms are also confirmed to, in fact, be still Alyssa, Orion, and June. But then Alyssa is told that she is safe. So the two lip sync to Water Me by Lizzo in front of Lizzo, wearing slinkies on her head.
I love that song. I hate the way Orion did the lip sync. I hated the way Orion did the lip sync.
Yeah. And I get a vibe that Orion could probably perform pretty well if it was songs she chose.
Something within her wheelbox or comfort zone.
Yeah.
Comfort zone for sure. Already knew the words, already performed to it, already had the whole layout, already ready for it.
And and as an audience member, it bothers me because before they even began, I was just talking about this. I just feel like I already knew as soon as they said the song, I was like, okay, bye, Orion. This isn't going to go your way. She tried though. She was like, look, I have another wig. But
the second wig wasn't that much different than the first wig. So what?
And it didn't look good.
That's true also.
And I could see her wig line. It looked like it wasn't in the right placement. It actually hid more of her face than I think the original wig. And I don't know, she struggled a little bit. Anyway, so at the end of the lip sync, a decision has to be made on who goes home. And to nobody's surprise, Orion's Story, who looked like she needed an EpiPen, was sent packing. It's time for top tweets. This season includes a first, as Drag Race is now, I think, attempting to do every season to appease the fan base, but it includes a controversial casting of the first straight queen, and that is Maddie Morphosis. Everybody had a very polarizing reaction, I guess is what I will say. You were either on board with this or you were not. And I didn't see too many people like in the middle. And There's a lot of opinions floating around about whether or not this person should be doing drag, whether or not they belong in the competition, all of these things, right? That got addressed before the season even aired. And I will say, I'm hoping it's not like a permanent piece of their storyline the entire time. You know what I mean? Because in the Meet the Queens, they do discuss it. I think it seems like they were asked to, which with all the interviews, I think it's going to be the first thing that comes up, which is unfortunate for this person. But based on their social media, they've never discussed it prior to this, which is interesting. Maddie Morphosis also has a girlfriend who is also a queen, but they're a drag couple, which is interesting. It's kind of cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyways, so a lot of people had really harsh reactions to this, but a lot of the cast and previous queens came to support Maddie Morphosis. Okay, let's get into the scoreboard. As always, these are the competitors we started with, and here's who we have left. For elimination order, so Orion's story ended up having a very short story, and they have come in 14th place. 13 other queens remain, again, including 7 we haven't even met yet. Also means up for elimination, June is the only person left who's been up for elimination. She's now been up for elimination 1 time. Rough start for June, but we'll see if June can pack it up. For challenge wins, Cornbread is currently the only person on the board so far as we get started. Cornbread won the challenge and won $5,000 as a cash prize. Good for Cornbread. This week's episode coming up is Big Opening number 2. It will be another talent show for the other 7 queens to showcase what they have as well in terms of talent. Hopefully it's more entertaining than this particular group. And that just about covers it. I'm excited we're back though. And, I'm excited we're back with Drag Race and, doing something a little different and, all that good stuff. And it's going to be a long doozy of a thing. I'm upset because we didn't get a lot of the stuff that they hyped, including this stupid candy bar twist that's supposed to do something big, but they didn't even talk about it. I guess they're waiting for the whole group to be there, but it feels like a waste of time to me. We did just get finished covering the 4th season of Dragula. You can check that out on the channel. And of course, you can stick with us as we continue to cover the 14th season of Drag Race. As always,
Thank you for watching highlights.
And we'll see you next time.